So, hello guys and welcome to today's webinar. Today will be about getting started with the Astera app. So it's actually all the basic stuff we will go through, and we will also have the app screen here on the right side just in a few moments. And you will also be able to see everything what we go through. In case you rent your first Astera set, can also be that you have bought your own Astera kit or set, then this is the way to get started with the Astera app. I'm Jesper, I'm from Astera, in case you didn't already know. Guys, in case you do have any questions during the webinar, rather just ask them down here on the right side in the chat. I will clear it out on the way as we go. Simply just ask, and then we can also get all the questions answered. I have my colleague Stefan here in front of me, and we will of course be interacting with each other. He will be reading up the questions and I will then be answering the questions. I think we slowly can get started. Good. First thing, what is very, very good to be aware about is that we have two different versions of the app. So the old one is called the Astera App Classic. This is the one only working for Android devices, and this is not being updated anymore. So in case you don't see some features we are going through here, then you probably would need to go in and download the new Astera app. The new Astera app is then the other version which works for both Android and also iOS devices. This is the app version we are constantly updating. This is called Astera App. So in case, again, you don't see any features what we are going through here, then go in and find the Astera app, and then you will also get all the new features we are updating with, and so on. The very first thing what is very important to know, and also before we actually can get started here working with the app itself, we have the tablet here in front of us where we have downloaded the Astera app, of course. Then we have here the Astera box. So the tablet and the Astera box is connected with Bluetooth. These have to be in a close range of each other, actually up to 5 meters. I recommend simply just to click it in your pants, and then you can walk around and do your settings on your Astera app. The next thing is actually to pair the lights, and to pair the lights, we would need to get the lights into what we call blue mode. Blue mode is simply done by holding down the power on button for approximately 3 seconds. Then it will start here with blinking blue, simply just to indicate that they are ready to be paired to an Astera app. Good. When we move on, you also see the app here on the right side now. By default, when downloading the Astera app and opening the main menu, which is the 3 lines up in the right corner, let us try open this. You will see at the very top, once we have paired the Astera box, that it's connected. And we can see also the Astera box's battery state. What you see just underneath is the radio pin. By default, this is 4x0. I would highly recommend to change this whenever pairing your lights to the Astera app, because whenever we change it and make it a little bit personal, then the chance of other Astera lights or other Astera users being at the same event site or production site will not interfere with your lights. So in case you are several Astera users on one site, you have all the 4x0 radio pin, then they will actually intervene or actually interfere with each other. So you will probably experience that you cannot control the lights. So whenever we, for instance here, set our radio pin, let's say 76, 10, probably nobody at the same site would have this one. Confirm with the OK button, and you will also see the radio pin has changed. Once we pair the lights, it will actually be engraved in the light with this radio pin until you pair it to a new radio pin. So let's try pair the lights right here and press the OK, just asking if we have the lights in blue mode. We have already done that, so we can press the OK button. Now you will see the little bar here down in the bottom running. Once the lights stop blinking blue, they have been paired to the Astera app. Now it happened, and we can simply just press the done button. And when we close the main menu, we will see connected lights 0. Be patient. This can take a bit. Also the pairing process, in case it runs all the way through, just make the pairing sequence one more time and the rest should suddenly come on. Just waiting a little bit here until they actually appear in the Astera app. Just be patient again, as I said, guys, it can be a little bit. Now we see it here, we have 3 lights waiting for the last one, and then we are basically good to go. So now actually the lights inside here have the 7610 radio pin. So whenever you want to pair it to a new one, simply just change the radio pin here in the app, and then the lights will have this radio pin instead. Good. Once we have done that, again, can be that you rent some lights, can also be that you bought your first Astera set, then I would highly recommend to reset the lights, and there is actually 4 ways to reset the lights. I will talk about the 3 ways. The 4th way I will talk about in our webinar called Tips, Tricks, and Less Well-Known Astera App Features. Let's get to it. The first way, on the Titan and the Helios, what we have right here, we have the display on the back, so we can simply just find the factory reset in the menu and confirm by clicking the OK button. In case you have some AX1's pixel tubes or some AX3 light drops, which only have the power on/off button, then simply just power it on and hold the power on/off button down for approximately 5 seconds, and then it will turn in red, the same as the Titan or the lights with display, simply just to indicate that it has been reset. The second way is through the list of connected lights here. We can go into each one of them, and what you see here is then the reset lights also highlighted just now. Whenever we do that and confirm by pressing the OK or the yes, you will see it actually turns in red, simply just to indicate or to say that the reset has been completed. If you do have a lot of lights paired to the app, it can also be a very valuable thing to know. Whenever you mark the icons here in the app on the left side and mark more than one, you will see up in the right corner we have something going on and off. So it's actually the magic wand, so it's some sort of a multiple selection. Whenever we mark the whole list, in case you have a lot of lights, we can also hold down one of the icons and it simply just marks the whole list of lights. Now we can then go to the magic wand. So it's some sort of a multiple setting tool, guys. Whenever you select more than one light in the list, you can do multiple setting with this magic wand, which I find very, very helpful. Can be that you want to do some DMX addresses, can be you want to reset all the lights, standby mode. Then the magic wand can also help to make your setup even faster. Now we can press the reset lights and confirm with the yes, and now you will see that all our lights here have been reset. Allow me just fast to adjust the brightness, because we would actually need to see our colors exactly just like that, then it looks a little bit better. The third way is through the main menu. When we go in here, we can just close this one, not to confuse you more or less, that would be stupid. Then we can go to actions for all lights, and in the middle of everything you will see reset lights and unpair CRMX. Here you can say yes to reset the settings, and also the CRMX can be that you already had a wireless DMX transmitter paired to the lights and you want to pair a new one, then unpair CRMX would also be necessary. You will realize that the lights start flickering, so we can actually confirm here by clicking the enter button like that on the lights. AX1, AX3, just one push on the power on/off button, or on the remote control, we can simply just push the power on button, point and push, and then we have it reset. With the remote control and with this reset mode can be very fast and very easy. Can be that you have multiple sets next to each other, multiple lights, then simply just push the power on button and point and shoot, and then you have everything reset just by a few clicks. This was the third way, guys. So let me just adjust the brightness here one more time. We want to see, of course, everything that is happening. So let us just do it like that. Good. Another thing what I like to do is also to check if the lights have the latest firmware. The way to do it is going to the main menu, so the 3 lines up in the right corner once again. Just closing the tabs and then going down to the App Settings menu tab. When we open this one and see on the very top, we have lights background update. Yes, you actually don't need to worry about if your lights are up to date or not, because whenever the auto update is on and you are using the lights and there are a new firmware, then it will simply upload this firmware to the lights, and then once you turn them off and then on, then it will install the update on the lights. All the lights we have paired, we will have the list here with all the different Astera model lights. We can see the Titans here. We have one light up to date. If it would be out of date, it would say one light is out of date. Then you could also here at the right side say upload firmware, simply just like that. You can also reboot it, make it install. This you can play around with. In case you do have a big show or production and you are afraid that it reboots in the show, simply just hit the auto update here off and then turn it on whenever you are done again, just to make sure that you have the latest firmware. Good. I think we also have this cleared out very well. Talking about battery lights, it's also very important to know how long they actually run from, for instance, a 100% charged light. Actually, there is a little feature I'm coming to just now, which is called the minimum runtime or seamless runtime, because we don't want people to, if we dim it down to 30%, will it then run for 4 hours? With the seamless runtime, let us try open it here. We can simply just slide it up to 20 hours. And we can also slide it down if we want the lights 100% to run for 6 hours, then just set it and it will run for 6 hours. Just keep in mind this is only valid from a 100% charged light, but in case it is 100% charged, then it will also run, for instance, for 12 hours now. Talking about the little remote control, we have 3 different brightness levels here in the right corner. We have a small sun, we have a middle sun. Some might think that they refer to the brightness, so could be 50% brightness, 75 the middle one, and maybe 100% brightness the big one, or the big sun icon. It actually refers directly to the runtime, what we see here in the app as well. So the small sun icon is then 12 hours runtime. The middle sun icon will then be 8 hours runtime, and the big sun will then be 5 hours runtime. It can be that you want, and going around, want all the lights on full brightness or maximum brightness. Whenever you push this one, then you know that it will run for 5 hours. In case you maybe haven't had the time and maybe you didn't have the possibility to charge the lights, and you come to a gig, let's make a very easy example. Your lights is charged to 50%. As I said, the runtime works from a 100% charged light. So in case you come to a production with 50% charged lights, you want them to run for, let's say, 8 hours, then you would actually have to set it here to 16 hours. 50% charged lights, 8 hours you want them to run, then 16 hours here in the app. In case you want them to run for 10 hours, 50% charged light, then simply just use the 20 hour. I hope it makes sense, and I also hope it gives a little bit of a thought how to calculate it yourself. Can be maybe you come to a gig with 30% charged lights and so on, but actually this is just how to calculate it, just to let you know. Good. Also talking about battery lights and also productions. Normally we do our setups several hours, maybe a day even before the show itself. We, of course, have some different ways to put the lights into standby mode, simply just to save the battery for the show itself. Pretty important. And I believe, since we are working with battery lights, that this also comes in very handy. The first way to do the standby is actually you can go into each one of the lights one by one. I like the magic wand though, so just let us mark the 3 lights and use the magic wand. Now we have the sleeping symbol here on the right side. Hit it, and we have the lights in standby mode. You can also push it again, and simply manually we will have them go out of the standby mode. In case you have them here in standby, we can also go back to the list of connected lights, and we will see the lights here and also a better overview which lights are actually in standby mode. Important to know here with the standby mode is that they lose 5% battery each day or each 24 hours. Just keep it in mind, but I will just give you a little bit of an example just in a few seconds. The second way to do it is actually going to the main menu, enter standby. I think it makes perfect sense. And here we can then say enter standby now, or we can leave standby. In case you don't have the time to be at production site when it actually starts, but can be that they just have to turn on in a red color, blue color, or the setup you made before you left, then we can also enter standby now, for instance, and we can leave standby later. Pushing here at add, and then we can say, for instance, 7:30, like that, and PM, hit the save button, and the timer is actually in the Astera box right here. So this, guys, has to be turned on and near by the lights. Actually, you could turn off the tablet and take it with to do another Astera setup. The important thing is just that the timer is in the Astera box, that this has to be turned on and also near the lights. You can also enter standby at a certain time, so it's actually working vice versa. Let us say, give you an example. You have 3 production days or 3 show days during a week. You don't have the possibility to charge the lights in between. So we have 3 show days and 2 standby days. We want the lights to run each one of the 3 show days for 2 hours. Then here is how we are going to calculate it. 100% charge light, 2 standby days, 5% each day, will leave us with 90% battery left. Fast calculation, we have then 30% for each one of the show days. Again, we want them to run for 2 hours. So we take the 2 hours divided by 0.3, which is then the 30% for each one of the days, which will leave me with 6.7 hours runtime. Going back here to the runtime, you will see we don't have such a thing called 6.7. So in this case, it would make sense simply just to set it here to 7 hours. Then you also have a bit of a buffer, but then you are safe during all 3 show days with the 2 standby days in between. In case it gets a little bit more complicated, I know this was a very easy example, but this is actually how to calculate it, just in case you want to do it sooner or later in the future. Good. Let us just dim down here so we can see some nice colors. Perfect. So, another little cool feature which you might didn't know was there. Let us go to, or stay here in the main menu and go to actions for all lights. Down in the bottom you will see theft alarm. Yes, the Astera lights have a theft alarm built in, and we are going to go through it now so you can see how it works. Can be that you have a special situation where you really want some theft alarm, maybe to scare some people away, can maybe prevent that it's actually getting stolen, but let's have a look at it. At the very top you see the siren here. Siren we can turn on, for instance, and then we can hit the OK button. Then you will see the lights flashing, and once it's actually shaking like this, maybe a little bit more like this, then we have them beeping and we have them blinking. Guys, I'm very sure that this will not prevent thieves for really stealing it if they really want to, but it's made more like a scare effect. So use it whenever you want, and actually you will also be able to see it on the list of connected lights here whenever they get activated. Going back here to the settings, let's leave the siren on. We have a sensitivity which you can adjust. Can be that you have a little bit of a shaky ground, simply just adjust it. It's a little bit hard for me to explain how sensitive it actually gets or is not, so I would recommend simply just to try it out yourself. Down in the very bottom we have permanent, so we can set it to never or after 2 minutes. Setting it to never, I will take maybe a light and I will be running with it for, let's say, 8 hours, and it will just be beeping and it will be blinking. Yeah? Then I put it down on the floor, then it will continue the same effect that was running on before it got activated. If we do the after 2 minutes, I take a light and I run with it for more than 2 minutes, the alarm will become permanent. No matter if I put it down, it will just keep beeping, it will keep blinking or flashing, call it whatever you want, which also means that the light will be completely useless for the thief. it will actually be beeping and blinking until the battery runs empty. If they figure out a way how to recharge the light, then it will simply just continue beeping and blinking once again. You can reset it if you get it back to an Astera system, and actually it's a little bit of a special way. In case you really do experience this, then it's done with the master pin, but then look at the webinar called Tips, Tricks and Less Well-Known AsteraApp Features. Therefore, I highly recommend, whenever you have the theft alarm on, before you put them down in a case after a production, just do theft alarm off if you had it activated. This is very important, then we also do not really experience the theft alarm is getting permanent. Simply just remember to turn off the theft alarm. Good. A little funny feature in case you really do need it. Perfect. Staying here at the list of connected lights, one very important thing is a thing we call TALKBACK Plus. And what is TALKBACK Plus actually helping us with? TALKBACK Plus is one of the things that does that we can see the battery state on all the connected lights, what you see here on the right side. It also does that we can diagnose lights, so we have the little bulb, we can say, okay, this is the one with the wrong DMX address, and simply just go in and change the DMX address directly from the app as well. In case you do a lot with DMX addresses, can also be that you have a gig where you need to swap out some lights because you need a new one with fresh battery. Then we can do sort and filter. Sort and filter, I hope you saw it, this little one up in the right corner highlighted now. Like that, then we can here sort by DMX addresses, we can sort by battery state, simply just marking it, push the OK button, and now we know, okay, this is the one we need to swap now. Going back to the sort and filter again, we can then take the DMX, okay, all has DMX number 1. But in case you really do need to diagnose, we need this one to be, for instance, channel DMX address number 50. Simply just go into the light, then down here in address, 50, return, boom, back, and then you will see it has actually changed and also on the light itself. So this is what TALKBACK Plus actually do for you. DMX setup made very easy in case you already hung up the lights, diagnosing the lights, battery state, seeing the DMX addresses. You can also sort and filter by sets and groups and so on, and also by lamp type. Keep it in mind, I think it's a very important thing to be aware of. We do call it TALKBACK Plus, but it's only there to help you guys. Good. Now we have been here on the first tab, what you see down in the bottom at my screen. We have the 5 tabs. If you do have an Android device, you will also see these in the very top. So let us move on to the next one, which is actually where we create sets and we also create groups for the lights we want to do. First of all, this is the tile view. And whenever you create something here in the AsteraApp, guys, just remember the plus button up in the right corner, also highlighted just now. Then we are able to create some groups. We have 3 different group selections, but let's start with the sync set. The sync set is actually all the lights attached to this one, or added to this one. All the lights will do the same at the very same time. So here, for instance, we could do the Titan tube then. I do actually have the Helios, let's call it Titan tube, boom. One way to add lights is actually to press the enter button when we are in this screen view. You will also recognize it on the display on the back actually. Then we can hit the enter button, it will flash, and then it will appear on the list right here. In case you already hung up the lights but you really want to do some new sets, then we can also push the bar highlighted now. And then we can simply highlight, okay, this is the one I want to add, mark it and hit the OK button. So there's a lot of good ways simply just to add directly on the light and also through the app here itself. Once we have added the light we want, then to create the set, hit the arrow up in the left corner. When we do that, we also have the possibility now to simply choose or assign it to a position, maybe just next to that one. It makes sense. Now we can click the different targets and then we can simply be able to control it whenever we select them. Of course, we have to deselect them if we do not want to control it with another set. The next thing I want to show you is the flow set. So the flow set is actually where an effect runs over a line or a line of lights or a row of lights. So in this case, we have 3 lights. I want one effect to run through them all, like that. And in the flow set, what you create, you can create up to 128 positions, which means that you can also have 128 lights in one long row. Let's start with these 3. I am a little bit limited, so we will just have to do, let's say, running lights. Hitting the big arrow on the right side will simply just mark the hole, and then we will be here lights in position 1 out of 3. Hitting the enter button, we can add this to position number 1. You will see it appears now. Then we hit the little arrow to go to position number 2. In case you also hung up the lights, you can also use this bar and simply just, okay, this one, then we do it like that. And position number 3 to have the last one with as well. So this list here is simply just aligning all the lights that you currently have paired to the Astera app. Adding the last one, we already renamed it, and to create it, simply just press the arrow up in the left corner once again. The last one is the individual lights. Can be you want to control some lights individually. I think this makes very nice, good sense. Let's say we want to control both of the Helios tubes individually. Simply just mark them both, press the OK button, and for instance lay them right there. Whenever we activate them, we can control them individually. I think this also makes perfect sense. When we come a little bit more into it, you will also see what these different sets actually do. Good. Talking about groups and also assigning lights to the different sets what we create, there is some limits what is good to be aware about. You can actually add up to 128 lights to a set or to a group. You can create a maximum of 255 groups in the Astera app, which is a lot, so simply just get started. I think there's a long way to use all 255. And then one light can be added to 4 different groups. This is the maximum. So in case you do make a 5th group with this light, it will just delete this light from the first group you created, so it will some sort of just go in a circle. Keep it in mind, guys. I just want to let you know. I think it's valuable information anyways. Staying here in the overview of all the sets and groups we now create has actually been there since we maybe even built the app. So we can now, for instance, the running lights, we can activate it, and then we can go here and we can choose a effect. So now you will have also with the flow set here, let me just speed it up a little bit. You will see we have one effect running through in one long row can be. We also have hung them up in one long straight line, like that. So this is the tile view. At the end of 2019, with a new update, we created a new view to the sets and the groups, or the target page right here, which is the 3 lines which you see up in the right corner, also highlighted now. This is the list view. So what does the list view give you compared to the old one? On the left side, you can still mark the sets what you want to control. You see them also getting highlighted here. Now you will also actually be able to control the brightness on the run directly in the production, simply just adjusting it. In case you want to be more precise, simply just tap the little box on the left side and we can write 50 and hit the OK button. So here also gives you the overview over the brightness, what the different sets actually have. We also see the current effect running there at the moment, which the tile view didn't give you. So in case you maybe forgot, switch to the list view and then you can see the current effect as well. In case you also have a lot of lights out there paired to some sets or added to some sets and you want to know which lights is in this set, press the little bulb. Okay, maybe running lights, maybe Titan tube. Then we can do it here. Then you see these are actually the lights attached to this specific set. So this is the tile view and also the list view. Could be that you maybe didn't know it was there, but it is there also just to make it even easier for you. Let's mark the running lights because now we will go to see some colors, and let us now move on to the middle tab, which is then the program and effect page. Just marking the just red. You can edit the program effects, what we already have predefined in the app. You can also create your own, and we will also come into that just in a few seconds. Whenever we have created an effect and we want to edit it, then simply just activate it or mark it, and then go to the next tab with the fader icons down in the bottom. That now we are in the editor of this specific effect. Whenever pushing now on this red static color, the C1 tab, which you see the long one, when we push it, we will come to the color picker. The color picker is simply just the easy way to, choose some colors on the run. Then we have it. Of course, we cannot be that precise, but we have a lot of possibilities down in the bottom. We also have some of the most common white colors or temperature white right here, so we can simply just shift between them. This is the color picker. What you see under the C1 tab now is also some different icons. Whenever we, for instance, go to the 1, 2, 3, is actually a list of gels. What you also see highlighted now is we are now looking into the Lee Daylight. When pushing this one, we can choose between Lee Tungsten, Roscoe Daylight, and Roscoe Tungsten as well. So now, in case you really have some filters or some gels you are using often, you can simply just search for it. By the way, this search function has only been there for a couple of days, so this is brand new. A lot of people have been asking for it, and now it's actually there. So now I like the Congo Blue. Oh, there it is. Perfect. And this one. Then we have it displayed here on the tubes behind me. So this is the gels, just in case you are using it often. The HSI, I also think makes pretty good sense to everybody. We have the CCT, where we can, of course, adjust the temperature, the white temperature here. The green, and we have the hue here, of course, saturation, and then we can dim this specific static color. So in case you really want to be specific, you can also double tap the sliders, just like that. And then we can, for instance, write, let's say 3275, okay. And then we have a 3275K white. This is there, and it's all good to use. The next I want to show is something that is probably or might be a little bit hidden if you haven't been touching too much around in the app. This can be any color. So whenever we, for instance, want this color, but we want to know the RGB values, then we can press now the heart with the plus button up in the right corner. Now it brings me to, or I'm actually adding this specific color to our favorite list of colors. And now pushing the little pencil, now we can see the exact RGB values. These RGB values, what you see on the left side, is the ones we also can extract and display on a lighting desk if we want to. So in case we, for instance, have here, let me see if I can hit it. Maybe not so good. Okay, maybe this is some sort of a Astera purple. Yeah, maybe like this. Exactly. Now we have the RGB values. Whenever we put this into a lighting desk, it will actually display the exact same color. We can do it from the app to the lighting desk and vice versa. Just keep it in mind. If you do have some productions with some customers who always wants to display the logo colors, or you have found some RGB values on the web on an internet page, then you will have to scroll down. Oh, sorry for that. And then go to the sRGB. Opening this is where you want to type in the RGB values. In case you are working a lot with X and Y coordinates, we can also scroll 100% down here. Oh, what did I do here? I didn't want it to do. Okay, like that. Then we have the CIE, where we also can type in the X and the Y coordinates. I hope and think it really makes sense. Let us try hit the Astera purple right here, exactly. This is a color I, for instance, use very often, so it would also make sense to actually save it. Just scroll up and we can call it Astera Purple. Hit the save desk icon, always the save desk icon, guys. Whenever you create something new, this will be important, and then we have it on our favorites by color. So if you, for instance, have a gel you are using often, can be the lavender or maybe the sky blue, then we can mark it and we can hit the heart with the plus button up in the right corner, and then it will add it to our favorites by color. So now we actually have it like this. You can add, basically just add some colors there, guys, and then you have it nice and long on the list right there. Simply just to choose for you right. I think it also makes perfect sense, so I believe that we can move on. Let's try create some programs, because you can always, of course, let me also adjust the brightness here a bit so we see it. Yeah, okay, like that, maybe a different color. Maybe we do like this. Yeah, a lot better. Okay, good. So the first we have to do when being here at the program effect page is, of course, going to the plus button. Always the plus button, guys. Then we can go to add a program, and for instance, static red program right here. Creating programs. So we could now place the new program or the effect down here in the bottom. Then we could go to the editor. So I also believe that we actually have to move one more step forward. That would be great. Just to add a static color, for instance. So now we can add some fade. Fade in can be we wanted to fade to this color whenever we change to it. This one I would probably like to be pink. Then we also rename it like that, pink. Yeah. Save. Then we have it. Then we can go to the plus button. If I like the parameters, what I have with the fade in, which is totally removed, then we can also capture the current effect, lay it right there. Then you see we have copied it. Then we can go edit it, and then we can, for instance, choose the blue, just going up here and changing the name, some different static colors, hit the save like that, perfect. So it's actually pretty easy just to create a static color just in this case. In case you want to create your own running effects, then we can also try do that. Again, my highest recommendations is that you also try to do this yourself. I could talk the whole day about how to create the different effects, but I believe that it also is more important that you try do it yourself to get it a little bit more under the skin. Let's hit the plus button. Simply just create a static red program, maybe lay it right there. Now going to the editor, and we will also, thank you Stefan, that was great, that was good timing. Then up here at the very top we can slide back and forth, simply just to choose some effects. Could also be the new layered effects which came out here at the end of 2019. I have a separate webinar only for the layer effects because it's such a big feature that we have simply just created a webinar just for the layer effects, because there is so much you can do with the layer effects. In case this makes fun to do some effects, the layer effects would be worth watching. Let's just choose the running, changing the red color here, maybe with a black background, so we have one pixel just running. Maybe this one would be changed, maybe let's say to, maybe orange, amber something. Then we can do it here, change it. Amber, running. Scroll down, then we can also change the speed. We can add a little bit more like this. Maybe a little bit too much. We can also change the directions. Easy peasy, but I think you get the drift. Save it, and then you also see the effect actually saves in the picture here itself. So guys, this is super easy. Also highly recommend just to try creating something yourself. Can be that you have some specific static colors you use often. Simply just create them and then you have it. Good. Let us try go to a whole new feature which is not more than I think 2 months old now. We call it the scenes. you might refer to it as cues because it's basically the same. So cues and scenes, we just call it scenes. It's actually, let's say you create 10 sets with different lights added to these sets, then you will be now able to predefine a scene or a cue. With one click, you can simply just change all the effects on your whole setup with just one single click. You can make 100 different scenes, of course, depending on the production you have. There are no limits, only your imagination is your limit in this case, guys. Let us start out going back here to the targets. We would need to create some sets, in my case, just to be able to show you this even better. So all the sets what we can create can of course be assigned to the different scenes. I will just do it with sync set because it makes more sense. Let me call this number 1, and we will now take the first one right here. And now it's on, going back, plus sync set. Then we can call this number 2. Yeah. We also do have a webinar only for the scenes because it's very important, and I believe this feature will and is super helpful for a lot of you guys out there who actually could find this useful for a lot of your productions. So we also have a separate webinar only for the scenes feature. Yeah, just wanted to let you know in case it's interesting. The next thing we have to do is actually maybe predefine some effects, create some new effects. We can also use some of the effects already laying here in the Astera app. So in case you want some special setup with some special effects, then create it. And then after creating it, we have to assign it to the first set, which we want to have in our first scene or to have in the first cue. Now, number 1 here, we will now start, for instance, assigning pink. Going back to the target list, it's like a ping pong show going a little bit back and forth, but I think you also get it. Adding number 2, maybe the blue. That was a nice rhyme right there, actually. And then the last one will then keep this pixel running simple and easy, just like that. Now we can create our first scene because this is how our first scene or cue should look like. Again, pressing the plus button here in the program effect page. Then down in the bottom we have add a scene. So guys, in case you don't see this feature now, you rather have to update the app or go download the new Astera app. But let's get into it and try add it right here. These 3 is now intended and created for this specific scene. So simply just mark it by clicking the icon here on the left side. We also see on the right side the effect we already have assigned. This is what we already done. It looks great and this is how we want it. So now we could, for instance, call it scene number 1. Hitting the check mark button, maybe no space, that we will come into just soon. Then we can, for instance, lay it right there. Yeah. Going back, I will just create a second scene, maybe with this one on the top one now. Yes. So in the second scene, I of course create the effect because the whole setup and the effects should actually change to it. So let's try see if we can do something here with maybe, where is it? The pink one. Yeah, the pink. And going back and then assigning to the third one, which will now be paparazzi, for instance. So now you see we have changed the colors, the effects is changed for our new scene to create. Hitting again the plus button after assigning the effects, push add a scene, mark the sets you want in the scene. You also see the right side has changed with the effects. Then we can here rename it, for instance, scene 2, which actually will make perfect sense, and then maybe lay it next to it right there. Whenever we activate scene 1 now, you will actually see that it goes back to, or not back, it activates what we have predefined in this scene. So all the sets changes the effects instantly with one click. Going back to scene number 2, boom, scene number 1. There is actually no limits, guys. You can add 50 sets to one scene. Oh, sorry for that. You can add 50 sets to one scene. You can add 100 scenes in the Astera app as well. So it's just basically getting started, and there is a little bit more to the scenes, also editing wise. If you really are interested in this, watch the scenes webinar. Good. Now talking about that all the pages here are full, maybe we lose the overview, it maybe doesn't look that well, but we want to have a better overview just for ourselves. Can be one page only with static colors, one page with scenes, and so on. Now going to the pencil, once we stay here in the program effect page, down almost in the bottom you see insert a page to the left or to the right. So this is an empty page. Let's just insert one to the left. Ta-da, empty. Now going back and to the pencil, down in the very bottom we have arrange tiles. Arrange tiles. Now it's activated. Now we can hold down one of the tiles. You will see it gets a little bit bigger. Now we can freely move it around, maybe dragging it here to the left side, and we are on the empty page. Just let it go where you want it to be, and that we can actually arrange like this. Just having maybe the static colors, then we can go do it like this, exactly, static. This one is also, so you can rearrange the pages just as you want to create a better overview for yourself. You can create as many empty pages as you want. It can be that you want just one page with white temperature colors, or one with some different RGB colors. Yeah, you name it. Just get started, guys. There are simply and basically no limits due to the program effect page when it comes to rearranging and also creating empty pages. We have been talking about the 4 tabs, what we see down in the bottom. When we go to the 5th one, is actually the brightness control. I don't think it needs so much of an explanation. We have a master control right here, and just as what you saw in the list view of the tiles or the targets, where we create the sets, we can now here also adjust the brightness, as you see maybe on the top one here, maybe the middle one, on the run, just as you do in the tile, the list view of the targets. Yes, I think it makes perfect sense anyways. Good. As you might know, there is a lot of control methods also talking about Astera light, so I just want to mention it just to make it very clear. We have the little remote control, which we have been talking about a few times. This is infrared, so this is approximately 10 meters where you can point, shoot, and then it changes, power on, off, change some speed, and also the runtime. Then we do have the Astera box, which is connected with the Astera app, simply just to be able to control the lights with the Astera app itself. In case you want to do some wireless DMX, this is also possible. There is a built-in CRMX chip in all the lights. So whenever you, for instance, have a Lumen Radio Nova TX2 connected to your lighting desk, then you can pair up this transmitter. Some might not know it, but the Astera box actually have 2 control methods built in. This side here is for the app control, and this side here is actually wireless DMX from Lumen Radio. Simply just connect a little DMX cable here to your lighting desk, then it activates the Lumen Radio module, and then you can control with your lighting desk also with the Astera box here. If you do use a Lumen Radio transmitter or an Astera box on wireless DMX, you would at all times be able to see the battery state. You will also be able to change DMX addresses through the Astera app. So if you maybe made a mistake or something has to be changed in the DMX addresses, then you can still do it from the Astera app, even though if you have it paired on wireless DMX to your lighting desk. This is some sort of a bidirectional communication, so simply the Astera app can be monitored while you are doing the control. Also, I think the picture here on the right side symbolizes or shows it very, very well. Everything works together. Whenever talking about having a lot of control methods, I also have the sheet here on the right side, because in the app you can actually choose the input to limit what is coming in or what it have to receive. It's very important because We do have app control, also wireless DMX. You can also do standalone. You can also do all these kind of input selects. But it's just important to be aware of. Let us try just fast, Stefan, go to the next one so we can see the app here fast. When we go here to one of the lights, you will see the one highlighted now where it also says auto. Then we can choose app, standalone, CRMX, and so on. If this input select is in auto, let me give you a good example, it can be that you don't want this to happen. You have a main stage with 8 Astera lights paired to a lumen radio transmitter and controlling with your lighting desk. In the entrance you have 8 other Astera lights paired to your AsteraApp, and then you want to control them separately so you don't control the main stage with the entrance as well. Before the show, you have maybe been doing the setup 2 hours before, then you power off all the lights. The lights are in auto select, the input auto, and of course just before the show you turn on all the lights on because you need it for the show. Whenever these are in auto, they will be detecting input source. Now you then pair the main stage again, and then the ones in the entrance will actually catch up to the wireless DMX. So now you will be controlling the lights in the entrance on the main stage with your lighting desk and not with your AsteraApp. So just be sure, if you really don't want to things to interfere with each other, go in and choose the input select, the app, if you do the app control. Just want to mention it, and also for you to keep in mind. Let us just try go back here, and then we have to head into the main menu like this, if I can hit, and then down to advanced actions. So the Titan tube, the Helios tube, also the Hyperion tube already have scrambled PWM built inside to avoid flicker. So don't really be concerned about if you are doing some high speed here. This should be doing it very well. In case on the spotlights and some of the other lights we have, you want to fine tune a little bit, go here to the anti-flicker in advanced actions. Then you can adjust the frames per second and also the hertz. One of the spotlights we have, the AX5, we can activate a high-speed PWM, so it actually is almost the same as the Titan Helios and the Hyperion, simply just to avoid flicker. It will go a bit, the brightness will go a bit lower, it takes a little bit more power, but otherwise it doesn't really affect anything. But here, guys, you can do your fine-tuning for the anti-flicker. Good. Whenever we have created a lot of sets, we have created a lot of static colors, a lot of scenes, and a lot of effects, what we actually want not to get lost. It can be that we're afraid that the tablet goes broke, and then everything is basically lost. Then we can go down to app settings. We can now, in the middle of everything, see the backup and restore. When we push that one, I already have 2 backup versions here, I see. Then we can hit the plus button, and then we can, for instance, say, I think we have the 30th today. Yeah, let's just do like this. Getting started. Hit the OK, and now we have a backup file created. Whenever we push that one, we can actually restore the backup. I also made another one earlier today. When I restore this one, I will have the settings what I created on that just earlier today. So you can also use it as some sort of production files. Just keep it in mind, and something maybe you have to play around with just a bit. Whenever I, for instance, mark this one, we can also share it with a colleague, co-worker. We can share it to a mail, so we can have it or store it in a folder just to keep it safe for whenever we use it. Whenever we press that file in a mail, it will open up in the AsteraApp, and then we can press, let's say, the restore backup. Now we can choose to restore everything. Whenever we deactivate this, we can also choose to only restore program effects, can be sets and groups, brightness, runtime, and so on. So in case you want to share program effects with your colleague, he will simply just need to do the programs. If you don't want to lose his own setup, what he should also, just before restoring your backup file, he should probably make his own backup file before restoring. Just want to say it, don't want anybody to lose anything important just because this is possible. So guys, just keep it in mind, the backup restore, just so you don't lose anything on the way. Good. We all know what happens. Okay, I cannot talk for all of us, but I can talk for myself at least. Whenever I buy some new stuff, there's always manuals with these products. What do I do with manuals? I simply just do like this and throw it down in the trash can. If you do need to do some troubleshooting or want to find out some small things, when you have the Astera app installed on your smartphone or your tablet, go to the main menu. Down in the bottom, we have the manuals right here. So in case you need any info, guys, you have the manuals by hand whenever you have the Astera app installed on your smartphone or your tablet at all times. Good. Let's close this one. And I also do believe that we have reached the end. Thank you for spending the last 60 minutes with me. I think it was very, very fun. Okay, guys, I hope you have learned something here today, and I also do hope that you will sit down, just try some new stuff. My email is actually displayed here on the right side, so in case you really have some questions, I am more than happy to answer you, and I'm pretty fast at writing back, so simply just give me an email and I will help you out at any time. Guys, thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. Hope to see you soon out there. Bye-bye.